We're just going to do today straightforward curry that many people do at home in Bangladesh with one pot method where everything you just throw in and you just cook without any having to do the onions, without having to brown anything. So let's start with just a few basic ingredients we're going to do. So what we have is basically we've got some onions, tomato, bit of coriander, green chilli, garlic and ginger paste, few whole spices. So we're going to use here cardamom, black pepper, whole black pepper, some Indian bay leaf, some cloves, a bit of cassia bark and some whole cumin. There you are. A little squeeze of tomato puree. So we've got turmeric, coriander powder, cumin, garam masala, red chili powder, and we're not using paprika in this one. We're gonna have some vegetable oil in there, just a touch of water to start it, and a bit of fresh coriander at the ends, etc. Not putting the heat on yet. We're just going to throw in the onions and half the tomato. So this is one tomato that's chopped, so I'll put half in. A couple of onions in there. We need salt. There's quite a bit of salt. I'd say about a teaspoon and a half. Now we have some garlic paste. 2 teaspoons and a half of garlic paste. Just some ginger paste here. It's about 2 and a half. Throw a little bit of coriander there. We add spices. So let's see what we can do. We've got turmeric, so it's about heaped teaspoon, half to 2/3. Coriander powder, a heaped teaspoon, 2 heaped teaspoons. Cumin powder, I've got a big massive heaped teaspoon. Touch of garam masala, I say about half teaspoon there. Some black pepper in there. Got a little bit of water here, 100 mils. Throw that in. It's about 1.5 kilos of meat here, so about 150 milliliters of vegetable oil to start with. We might add a bit more. What you do with this now is give it a good mix. And if you want it hotter, you can add more chili, of course, and you can add a bit more spice later on. But we're just going to marinate this on all these spices. I'm going to add a bit more coriander. That's it to start with. I'm going to put the flame on high. That for about 10 minutes. You'll start seeing more water releasing, and we'll be back to give it a stir. I actually forgot to put in some of the whole spices. So while it's cooking away now, 3 cloves, 3 cardamom, 4 or 5 black peppercorns, 1 nice piece of cassia, half a bay leaf tezpata, and a tiny bit of whole cumin. And as you can see, it's starting to boil now, so add a tiny bit more red chili powder for a bit of colour. And a little bit more salt. For the first few minutes, I want to cook with the lid off. Look at that, beautiful. I'm just using a big traditional handi. It's aluminium, nothing special. You can get them at most Asian grocers and Asian shops. You can get it online, I think, now. But you want something with a bit of depth. It needs to have a bit of space. And the reason why you don't want to fill a pan up is you need to be able to stir it without it splattering everywhere. It's just coming to a boil now. Remember, this is a very easy traditional style. So now it's come to a boil. I want to add a little bit of tomato puree, not too much. It's a double concentrated stuff, so about a teaspoon and a half. There's so many ways of cooking lamb. So the oil separates and starts frying the onions and the meat in its own juices. So now you can see a lot of water is being released by the lamb itself. Now I'm just going to put the lid on and let it sort of cook on a medium heat. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes. See what it looks like. Wow, look at that. And trust me, it is lamb. It will take a bit of time to cook down and get that unctuous flavour. In 15 minutes, this is what's happening. Look at that. And can you see? Tomatoes are breaking down. Chilies there. And this stage, I'm going to add the other tomato. That gives a bit of sweetness to the sauce. I'll be back in 10 minutes. So it's been 10 minutes now since we left this. Now let's look what it looks like now. Can you see? Oh my gosh, look at that. It's stewing away. Still on a medium heat, not too high, not too low. Now look at that. What I want to do now is increase the heat. Put it on max now. The color's coming through. Lid on half like this, and then we just let it cook. We'll come back after 10 minutes. So it's been 10 minutes. Let's see what the lamb curry looks like. Now it's starting to develop nice flavor. Gonna give it a quick stir. There you go. starting to take on a color. The gravy is starting to form, and it's going to be a matter of letting the lamb, which is lamb leg. So remember, now it's on a high heat. We're going to put it on a medium heat now and let it cook for another 10 minutes and come back. I'm going to add a bit more coriander. Put the lid back on halfway. We're back after 8 minutes to have a look what's happening. Let's see. Wow. Look at the oil starting to separate. Colors amazing. We're just going to give it a nice stir. Like I said, we want to reduce that water down a bit more, then we'll add a bit more water. At the moment, you can see the onions, everything is breaking down. Wow. And to add a bit more color, I'm going to add another tomato. We will slow cook it for another half an hour or so after the next 10 minutes of cooking to see the gravy. Put the lid back on. And we'll be back in another 10 minutes. Another 10 minutes have passed. See what this curry actually looks like now. Let's have a look. Wow, look at that. Now it's looking lush. A lot of the water's reduced. Meat's still going to be quite tough. It's not tender yet. It's going to take another 20 minutes to get tender. So let's give it a quick stir. Oh. You can see that richness, the gloss on there. The lamb has rendered down most of its fat as well. Look at that. Wow. Now, of course, if you don't want any more sauce, you can leave it as is. And then reduce the heat down and just cook it for another 20-25 minutes or until on a very low heat, well, medium-low heat until it's very tender. If you've got a pressure cooker, you can put it in now for about 3 whistles. Add a bit more water. That's about 250 ml of water there. So let that just come to a quick boil. Some warm water I put in. Put the heat up, just let it come to a quick boil. I was going to add a tomato, but I think color's looking quite nice actually, so it's up to you if you want to add another tomato, that's up to you. I like coriander, add a bit more coriander there. So now it's coming to a boil. That's the kind of color you want. And it's a nice Sunday lunch special if you want. Look at that. See, it's just coming to a boil now. At this point, if you want to, you can add a touch of garam masala, sprinkle on top. Give it added depth and warmth without too much heat. And the oil is coming up as well. So I'm going to now put the lid on fully this time, because we're going to put it on a very low flame, and we'll come back to it in about 20 minutes. We've been cooking it on a low flame now for 15 minutes. We want to see what it looks like, because I think it's almost done. Let's have a look. Wow, so look how tender. That's how tender. It slices with a wooden spoon. Now if you want it even more tender, you can leave it for another 5-10 minutes. So it's been cooking for a further 15 minutes. Added more coriander, and what I've done, I added a little bit more water because it wasn't as tender. And look, it's just cooking down now. The oil has separated and sauce is developing. The last time we saw it, it was still fairly dry. The lamb was tender, it wasn't as tender as it should have been. But it's almost done now. We're just going to give it another few more minutes. And when the lamb is tender and you're happy with the consistency, what I'm going to do now is just add a bit of tomato for added sweetness at the end. It's going to have a touch of sweetness. The tomatoes will soften in about 2-3 minutes. It's quick. Lid back slightly ajar. I'll be back in 5 minutes and see what happens. And there you have it. Now it's settled, switch the heat off, it's sitting for a few minutes. Oh, it's completely, look at that color. There you go, that's a traditional lamb curry, all-in-one pot method. Silky sauce. There you go, enjoy.